So apparently Jordan Peterson was out there saying that socialism and the collapse of our values as a consequence of like neo-Marxist postmodernism is a greater threat than the climate change,
and even
the climate
national
apocalypse.
Attempts to deal with climate change are going to cause way more trouble than accumulated carbon dioxide. Not because accumulated carbon dioxide isn't somewhat of a threat, but when it becomes a global planetary threat that's a crisis, then...
And no, I'm not going to watch all 56 minutes. Apparently the first 4 minutes is like a perfect summary. So we're just going to look at the first 4 minutes and I'll give you my thoughts on it instead. Because like I have to go for shit camp soon. And obviously I can't fucking do that if I watch a 56-minute Jordan Peterson video.
Well, then it's a justification for virtually any political action.
Hello and welcome to Off Script. My name is Stephen Edgington and today I'm joined by Dr. Jordan Peterson, the internationally acclaimed clinical psychologist and best-selling author. We're going to be talking about radical ideologies, COVID-19 lockdowns, the legacy of communism and the main...
Casually explained, responded, yeah, I saw. I wanna get a full clip though, and I don't think you can do it in 60 seconds, right? Because it doesn't capture it. Or is there like a full 60-second clip that shows like from the video, from the start of the video all the way to where he fucking owns me? And I want to post that instead. This is the full video? Are you fucking kidding me? Bro, when did this get uploaded, dude? Just another Hasanabi clip channel. It's already got 3,000 views, bro. It literally happened an hour ago. It happened 1 hour ago. Dude, my clip industrial complex is insane, dude. They're insane. God, dude. Never typed in chat. Tier 3 sub. This is crazy. All right, let's watch.
Mainstream media. Why are you a phenomenon?
Oh God, that's a really good question. I don't really know how to answer that. I guess it's a puzzlement to me. I mean, some of it is.
Okay, where's the No, I don't care about this. Did anyone watch this? Like, I thought it was in the first 4 minutes that he talks about fucking climate change and shit. I don't care about like some oibruv sucking off this like old decrepit fool. Okay.
That's as good an account as I can give for it. I mean,
That.
and that's political in some sense in our climate.
And through your lectures, millions of people around the world, I'm sure you've seen letters and things like that.
Oh my God, dude. I can't watch 50 minutes of this fucking bullshit, dude. Get the fuck out of here. Why are you a fucking absolute legend, bruv? Okay, here's a trick. I used to do this back when in my like fucking TYT producer days. You open transcript. Okay. And you Google climate change. Did I say Google? I mean Control F climate change. Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. I just let me have a moment. Like let me just fucking flex for a second. I just gave like a good tip to you guys. Like you fucking ruined it and now you're saying that like
we have rights because we're of intrinsic value, and societies that don't recognize those rights collapse very rapidly. So it's not like they're granted to us. To make a, cheap comparison to what's happening in Western society with COVID, but But, the problem is that
you just call Control F Google. I call everything Google. It's so sad. It's really sad, but that's like,
if you're justification, see, the problem in some sense is if you're acting in accordance with some high ethical standard, I'm going to protect you, and because you need to be protected, you deserve to be protected. Your health is paramount, and even one life is too many. It's like, well, yes, but because that's become an absolute in some sense, it's hard to say what that doesn't justify. That's the problem. What doesn't it justify? And the whole reason we have rights, well, there's a lot of reasons. We have rights because we're of intrinsic value, and societies that don't recognize those rights collapse very rapidly. So it's not like they're granted to us. We fail to recognize our intrinsic value at our peril. That's the real truth of the matter. But when you make those rights explicit and grant limit the...
Okay, this sucks. Dude, I don't understand how fucking people think he's like awesome. Like I will just never comprehend how like you literally just, I guess you lack a father figure or something, and you just want to hear like an old person seem profound. It's at minute 46, you fucking himbo.
Unbelievably difficult. I mean, I learned a lot of what I learned about the psychology of religion by reading Carl Jung and some of his students, Eric Neumann in particular, who's extraordinarily brilliant.
It's not at 46, you lied.
It's very, very difficult intellectually. I mean, there's a lot of psychologists have contempt for Jung.
Why did I listen to chat?
And my experience has been, I've never ever met someone who understood Jung, who criticized him that way. Every single person I've ever met who had that attitude had absolutely no idea what they were talking about. And I think a big part of that is his books they're very difficult, and making this stuff conscious,
his entire content revolves around just like a whole bunch of saying nothing, dude. Like, it's crazy. They literally don't. He says it once. Okay, here. Oh, there it is.
To deal with climate change are going to cause way more trouble than accumulated carbon dioxide. Not because accumulated carbon dioxide isn't somewhat of a threat, but when it becomes a global planetary threat that's a crisis, then it's a justification for virtually any political action. So look out, man, because because of the dangers of systems.
Boris Johnson is currently in New York urging...
That is so insane, dude. So he's saying that, like, look out, because, like, what? We might use our systems to tackle a fucking problem that can only be tackled at the systemic level? Yeah, no shit. Incredible, brilliant, insightful, dude. Radical, too. Oh, my God. It's like, there's nothing even cool about it. I genuinely don't understand. I genuinely do not understand how people find this to be profound.
Governments using fear to persuade people to comply. And I don't want to compare the lockdowns directly.
And disgust.
But
which is fear of contamination.
There surely is some kind of comparison, right?
Well, the comparisons.
Campbell started on his channel. Yeah. Yeah, Camp is, I guess it's starting on XQC's channel. Yeah, I don't know. We let it become an existential threat, then we will be forced to do extreme things to continue existing.
Are there. I mean, a lot of what the Nazis did were public health. They were in the guise of public health. I mean, eradication of the unfit. That was public health. That was just
Okay, dude. Okay, except like, of course, everybody fucking couches their psychotic eugenicist advocacy under the guise of helping people, right? However, that's precisely why you have to look at the fucking outcome. And it's not like the Nazis hiding what they were saying as though it was a positive. Like, no one fucking advocates for what they want to do. Like, yeah, I'm a fucked up guy. I'm gonna do evil shit. That's why I want to fucking put like all the communists, socialists, trade unionists, and then Jews in the fucking concentration camps. Because we're fucking bad, bro. Like, no one is the villain in their story. Of course people say that. This is not a profound point. And that's precisely why you have to look at what the outcomes are of their fucking actions. And the outcome for like dealing with climate change is trying to reverse anthropogenic climate change so that the extreme weather conditions that absolutely eviscerate specifically poor areas, way worse than even the wealthier areas, because wealthier areas can withstand that kind of damage usually to a certain degree, can, fucking not be harmed in the same way by tornadoes and hurricanes and shit like that.
Justification. And a lot of the Nazi horrors grew out of that initial justification. I'm not trying to make a, cheap comparison to what's happening in the West.
Oh, that's such a great point. Shouldn't he be pro-environmentalism because we're cleaning the biggest room we live in, the world?
In society with COVID, but the problem is that if you're justification, see, the problem in some sense is if you're acting in accordance with some high ethical standard, I'm going to protect you, and because you need to be protected, you deserve to be protected. Your health is paramount, and even one life is too many. It's like, well, yes, but because that's become an absolute of some sense, in some sense, it's hard to say what that doesn't justify. That's the problem. What doesn't it justify? And the whole reason we have rights, well, there's a lot of reasons. We have rights because we're of intrinsic value, and societies that don't recognize those rights collapse very rapidly. So it's not like they're granted to us. We fail to recognize our intrinsic value at our peril. That's the real truth of the matter. But when you make those rights explicit and grant limit the ability of law to transgress against that, you do that to not allow the sorts of things that are happening now to happen. And so it's never danger, and here's the thing we do about it that's safe. It's danger, and here's something we could do, but that also has its danger.
When you don't think about it too much, the stuff Jordan Peterson says makes sense. It was your video talking to a JP fan that made me think about it more and see how bad most of his takes are. That dude's like a fucking communist now, by the way. Like, that dude who was a Jordan Peterson fan literally is no longer, not only is not a Jordan Peterson fan, that's why we never did a part 2. When me and Three Arrows talked to that Jordan Peterson fan, he like literally changed everything about his life. I'm not even kidding. Like, he reached out to me a while ago and he's like, dude, I'm literally fucking commie now. But that's the weird thing. It's like, I will never understand what's appealing about this, because I feel like you need to be personally invested in conservative rhetoric before you tap into this, like before this starts being appealing to you, because it's so boring. He's just fucking rambling over and over again, endlessly pontificating, like on, I mean, it's just like pseudo intellectual. It's not in any way like clever or it's not in any way intelligent. I don't know. He doesn't really say anything. I guess like people read the easily digestible and oftentimes pretty good fucking advice in the form of the 12 rules or whatever. And then then they feel really like personally invested and connected to this person because they feel like the actually decent, and I would go so far as to say pop psychology advice that Jordan Peterson gives that literally everyone else has written about in the past as well, can change people's lives for the better. So when you associate that with Jordan Peterson, then you actually, I guess you change your mind. You start thinking that this is like an incredibly fucking smart individual. He hides Peterson is the Chomsky of the right. I mean, Chomsky, at least Chomsky's subversive, dude. Like, the uniqueness for Noam Chomsky comes from a long history of analysis and being on the right side and being correct and like genuinely fascinating literature that is like widely celebrated, widely circulated. This motherfucker wrote maps of meaning, okay? Comparing that to like manufacturing consent is psychotic. Okay, with the exception of Cambodia one time. That's how pathetic some people are. When I say he's like been on the right side of history so many times, like it's literally one fucking hiccup in a long history of being correct on and also being an anti-imperialist activist for the longest fucking time. No, the only difference is in Cambodia, he said he said something along the lines of like, I would be skeptical of the American government's narrative on Cambodia and immediately rush to defend America's actions or America's narrative on Cambodia. And that made it seem like he was siding with the fucking Khmer Rouge, but the reality is that he was wrong, and he also said that he was wrong immediately. He clarified very quickly his... Like, it's so stupid. It's not even a fucking hiccup. And not only that, but like Chomsky's rhetoric and his takes, if you want to call it takes, and his work is unique because there's not a lot of other people out there that are writing about this, okay? There's not that many fucking incredibly famous anarchist, socialist, anti-capitalist authors. They're not exactly all over the place. The mainstream narrative is heavily fucking influenced by reactionary garbage, pro-capitalist, pro-bootstraps. The entire media is designed to reinforce that idea that meritocracy is real and the rich are there because they worked hard and you too can achieve that same thing if you can. And that's basically exactly what Jordan Peterson is rehashing. And he's not even doing it in a fucking clever or unique or smart way. He's just doing it in the most boring, convoluted, and pseudo-intellectual way possible. So that's why I'm always shocked that people are like really invested in Jordan Peterson. You see what I'm saying? And that's why he got fucking obliterated by literally a dumpster diving raccoon who has a hard time stringing like coherent English sentences that you can immediately understand and comprehend. Like, can you imagine? Like, Slavoj Žižek just fucking obliterated this dude with incredibly simple questions like, where are the Marxists? Or what else? I mean, there's so many. Oh God, there were so many fucking awesome parts of that silly ass debate. Not sure how others found JP, but I found him when I was in the alt-right treadmill. Of course, a lot of people do find him on that area.
Dangers, and then the
incoming Parenti over Chomsky Andes. Listen, I will never trust someone with a fucking accent like Parenti's, okay? I've told you this already. There's like two different kinds of accents that like immediately destroy any credibility you might ever have. Yes, you might say that that's a blue collar man. Okay, I don't give a fuck. If you have a Boston ass accent, if you have a thick ass Boston accent, like our current labor secretary does, or if you have a thick ass fucking like Italian accent, like a New York Italian accent, I can't trust you. I will never be able to listen to you and be like, wow, this is a clever dude. Sorry. It's just, it is what it is. Same with fucking Fauci, too. Listen to Parenti one fucking time, dude. Linguistic discrimination, hot take, my guy. I mean, it's a joke, okay? This is what is known as a joke. Literally racism. Oh my God. I mean, dude, this is what this motherfucker sounds like. You want to tell me you can like listen to this dude? Here, I'll use one that I actually do like.
You could look at any existing socialist country. If you don't want to call them socialist, call them whatever you want. Post-capitalist, whatever. I don't care. Call them camels, window shades. Doesn't matter. As long as you know the countries we're talking about. You can look at any one of those countries, and you can evaluate them in several ways. One, comparing them to what they had before. And that, to me, is what's very compelling.
For the record, I do agree with this. Like, I chose this video purposefully because
That's what's so compelling about Cuba, for instance. When I was in Cuba, I was up in the Escambray, which is like the Appalachia of Cuba, very rugged mountains. The poor people, very poor they were. And I said to this campesino, I said, do you like Fidel? And he said, sí, with all our souls. I remember his gesture, with all our souls. I said, why? And he pointed to this clinic right up there on the hill, which we had visited. He said, look at that. He said, before the revolution, we never saw a doctor. If someone was seriously ill, it would take 20 people to carry that person, because you'd go day and night. It would take 2 days to get to the hospital. First, because it was far away, and second, because you couldn't go straight. You couldn't cross the latifundio lands. The boss would kill you, so you had to go like this. And often when we got to the hospital, the person might be dead by the time we got there. Now we have this clinic up here with a full-time doctor. And today, a doctor in Cuba, when you become a doctor, you've got to spend 2 years out in the country. That's your dedication to the people. And a dentist who comes 1 day a week. And for more serious things, we're not more than 20 minutes away from a larger hospital. That's in the Escambray. He said, that's freedom. We're freer today. We have more life. And I talked to a guy in Havana who says to me, before, all I used to see here in Havana, you call this drab and dull. We see it as a cleaner city. It's true, you got the paint is peeling off the walls, but you don't see kids begging in the streets anymore, and you don't see prostitutes. All we used to have was prostitutes. Prostitution used to be one of the biggest industries. And today, this man is going to night school.
Wow, Parenti's anti-sex work canceled, dude.
He said, I can read. Do you know what it means to be able to...
Ew, he also is like a fan of literacy. Yikes. What a fucking nerd.
To read? Do you know what it means to be able not to read?
Can you make that argument about any developing country regardless of its socialist capitalist? No, because countries that don't have fucking robust social safety nets that are developing, especially if they're being currently exploited by Western imperialist nations, whether it's like economic imperialism in the form of like the World Bank or the IMF or whatever, they purposefully do not want you to use any of the conditional loans offered to said countries that are going to be, they're going to have to be capitalist to use them on themselves. Austerity measures are implemented immediately in the aftermath of those fucking loans. Is this you?